morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice to radio, so today we need to have a look at another big update for Pokémon TCG Pocket. Now, yesterday I showed you my exclusive preview where I actually went to Pokemon offices, and that was amazing. And then I followed up with a discussion about some new cards that I'd seen during my preview, etc. Well, it turns out we've got even more information because a bunch of cards have been revealed over in Japan, and partly these are just fun, exciting cards that you should be excited about. And secondly, yeah, these are telling us a lot about the game, and I have a sneaky little prediction that I think we need to be having a little bit of a chat about. So we're going to talk about all of these, but I think we need to start off with full art Charizard. Obviously there was going to be a full art. It seems like we're going to see full arts of all the EXs. Can't guarantee, can't say for absolute certain, but it seems very likely at this stage that we are going to see full arts of all the EXs. Well, good news. Now we've got our Charizard. The card isn't new. We've had this for a little while now. 3 energy, 60, 4 energy, 200, discard 2. It's fine. Although, honestly, I think the 200 is massive damage. Absolutely massive damage. Problem is, you're going to be attacking every other turn, and that's after you've actually gone through all the effort of getting your stage 2 out and getting the energy on in the first place. I am reticent, I think is probably the right word here. I'm not sure this is actually going to work. I think Charizard's going to be a little bit too awkward. But we've got the full art here. The full art is absolutely astonishingly nice. This is going to be one of the first kind of real chase cards that we see for Pokemon TCG Pocket. And you know what? That's kind of nice. But how about some new EXs that we haven't seen before? How about Zapdos? Yeah, that's right. We got Zapdos EX. We hadn't seen Zapdos yet. And it's in Japanese, but don't worry. I can translate it. I can do that for you. We've got 130 HP, which is not hideously high, although to be fair, still higher than Pikachu. And what we've got here is 1 energy, 20 damage. It's not particularly good. I'm not going to pretend it's particularly good. But it does give you an option, you know, turn 1, going second, you can attack. Why don't you go ahead and do this? Cool. But then also here, we've got 3 energy, flip 4 coins, 50 damage for each heads. This one I like. Because the thing is, let's take Pikachu for instance. I really like Pikachu. Pikachu does 30 damage for each of your bench lightning Pokemon. So you should be able to get 3 lightning Pokemon out pretty easily bench-wise. And then you're sitting there hitting 90 for 2 energy. Cool. Well, Zapdos, it's going to take 1 more energy, but it should be hitting 100. Your expectation with Zapdos, not guaranteed, but your expectation with Zapdos is that you're hitting 100 damage. That's really not bad. It's not going to get stage 2s, it's not going to get EXs, but it's going to get a lot of stuff. And then, of course, the thing that Zapdos has got is there will be those games where you can go ahead and hit 200 and get a giant KO. And for that reason, I think Zapdos could be rather fun indeed. As a side note, we also went and saw Jolteon, which has got a very similar attack. Now, this is stage 1, 90 HP. It's much weaker. But 2 energy, flip 4 coins, 40 damage for each heads. So it's not as good as Zapdos because you're doing 40 less damage. It's got a lot less HP and all of that. But actually, this is still not too bad. It's very flippy, don't get me wrong. And that can backfire and all of that. I ain't saying it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But I am saying that if you're willing to flip some coins with some lightning Pokemon here, we've actually got some potentially very powerful attacks. And we can absolutely do some stuff here with things like Zapdos and Jolteon. So cool. And while we're here, I'm going to mention Flareon. I don't think we've talked about Flareon before, though I suppose we might have. This is a stage 120 HP, 3 energy, 110, discard an energy from this Pokemon. Now, this is not quite the same as Charizard, for instance, because Charizard you have to discard 2 energy Flareon here, you only have to discard 1, which is nice. It means you can attack every turn. You discard an energy and then next turn, attack your energy for turn, attack, round and round we go. The downside here is, essentially, all the turns you're attacking with Flareon, you're not able to build up a backup attacker because you're using all your energy attachments for the turn on Flareon. If we get some decent fire energy acceleration, and I'm fairly sure we don't have it at the moment, but if we get any decent fire energy acceleration, just keep an eye out here, because I do think there is a potential for this to end up being very, 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 very good. There we go. You've been told. Now, there is a new supporter card that we did get a little bit of a peek at as well. We've got ourselves a new Erica supporter. And this one is going to be pretty good for healing if you want to be playing some grass Pokemon. What we've got for Erica here is just a supporter card that says, heal 50 from your grass Pokemon. There we go. Your grass Pokemon, one of them, 50 damage, 50 HP, recover. Is what it literally translates as. So it's just going to heal 50 from one of your grass Pokemon. But remember, I showed you your Venusaur yesterday, which for 4 energy will go and do 100 damage, healing 30. And I'm just saying, you start adding in a bit more healing here, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of healing going on with these grass decks. And I'm not saying it's going to be the best deck in the format or anything like that. It still seems a bit slow and a bit expensive. But I am saying that when you add all of this together, the healing and everything else, there is at least a little bit of potential with some of these grass decks. I'm not saying they're going to be good, but I am saying let's keep a little bit of an eye on them. And there's even one more EX I haven't shown you yet. It's Blastoise. We knew Blastoise was coming. Technically, I could have shown you this yesterday with a tiny blurry picture, but I kind of assumed we'd be seeing a real one before too long, and I was right. We've got ourselves a big old Blastoise to go and have a look at. 180 HP is obviously gigantic, and we got ourselves 2 energy 40, which is fine if unspectacular, and 3 energy 100 damage, and if you've got 2 extra energy on there, it does 60 more damage. So 3 energy 100 or 5 energy 160. And you know what? Yeah. There's got to be some decent water energy acceleration though. If you look at cards like this, it's being absolutely just telegraphed from a mile away. There's got to be some water energy acceleration. There's got to be. There's no way you print cards like this without giving us some water energy acceleration. That's just not the way it goes. I feel extremely confident we're going to get some. Don't know what it's going to look like, don't know how good it's going to be or any of that, but you know the deal at this stage. We've done Pokemon for a while now. If they are continually giving us these kind of attacks on water Pokemon, you know that something else is coming in here. For instance, you know, the Lapras I showed you a while ago, 20 damage, but if you've got 3 extra energy on there, it does 90. Also, lovely artwork on the full art there. But again, it's another Pokemon that does extra damage if you got loads of energy on there. Does anyone think things like Blastoise and Lapras are here and we're not getting water energy acceleration? Come on. It's got to be happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to be happening. Speaking of happening, I'm starting to see a little bit of a theme here with the kind of deck I'm probably going to be playing day one. Because I showed you previously Hitmonchan. Single energy, 30 to one of your opponent's bench. And we know now that 60 HP is going to be a pretty big deal in terms of bench Pokemon and evolving Pokemon and all of that. I've shown you ones like Meltan that's got 60 HP, and I've shown you stuff like Clefairy that's got 60 HP. I'm not going to say they've all got 60 HP, but I am telling you that 60 HP seems like the key number. So all of a sudden, single energy, turn 1 going second, half KO, and then again. So you can be putting pressure on very quickly in that regard. That's lovely. But there are a couple of other Pokemon that are coming around here that I do think we need to be having a look at as well. And it amuses me that one of them is Hitmonchan. And this amuses me Because, of course, back in the base set, everybody else was starting to evolve up all of their Pokemon and all of that, trying to get the Stage 2s working, and it turned out the best deck in base set was Haymaker, where people would just use these basics that did decent damage for 1 energy and ran away with it. And that seems to be what we're going back to here. See, it seems like we're going straight back to Haymaker. Now, we've got this Hitmonchan here. It's just single energy, 30 to the active. Kind of like Hitmonlee, but instead of hitting the bench, you hit the active. And I genuinely think this is going to be a really good Pokemon. It's not an exciting Pokemon. Not saying it is, but I'm just saying that this does seem to be one that actually is starting to look very, very good. I did predict, of course, that we would not see any 40 for 1 energy. The reason is really simple. Weakness is plus 20. Most basics have 60 HP. This seems like a game where they don't want really one-hit KOs coming out. So what we don't want here is being able to KO basics turn 1 going second. However, there is a little bit of an exception here, and it's a Pokemon that I like very much indeed. It's Farfetch'd. Now, Farfetch'd annoyingly is one of these where we don't actually have a great look at it, which is a little bit annoying, but we do have enough to see that it's single energy 40 damage. Now, I know that in yesterday's video and just a second ago, I predicted we wouldn't see single energy 40 damage, and we're already seeing it, but Farfetch'd doesn't count. And I'm not being rude here. The reason Farfetch'd doesn't count is because it doesn't hit for weakness. And the reason I said we would not be getting single energy 40 is because of the one-hit KO turn 1 going second using weakness. Well, obviously, in a world where you're not hitting for weakness because you're colorless, it's a moot point. So, yes, I made that prediction. Yes, Farfetch'd breaks it, but I still feel pretty confident about it. Also, while we're talking about these small Pokemon, one of the other big ones back in the base set was, of course, Electabuzz. And I showed you Electabuzz yesterday, but the look we had of it was, terrible. Well, now we've got a better look at it, and we can see that it is 2 energy, 40 damage, flip a coin. If heads, you do 80. If tails, you do 20 to yourself. I honestly think we're hilariously going back to the base set here. I'm just going to be rolling with stuff like Hitmonchan and Electabuzz. Just like we were back in the base set. I actually think that might be the best play here. I think cards like Electabuzz and Hitmonchan and Farfetch'd are actually going to be really good in the early days of Pokemon TCG Pocket. I could be wrong here, but that really does seem like where we're heading. But I've told you all of this now. I've told you about all the new cards. So now it's over to you guys. Do you think we're going to have a Haymaker style format like I'm starting to think we are? Or do you think we're going to get a little more inventive? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of other fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.